Today I'm doing a video on all unique weapon locations in the region of Dawnshore, which is the first area in Avowed, and I'm going to show you how to get them because some of them you can't just pick up with no requirements. And because unique weapons are highly coveted for their special abilities, these are all weapons that I definitely think you should pick up, even if you don't plan on using them, because they'll still be good to break down and use as upgrade materials later in the game. So with that said, we're going to get right into it, and we're first going to start off with the ones that don't require you to do any side quests or have even progressed in the main quest. So the first one we're going to start off with is Anextli's Grimoire. This unique Grimoire comes with the spells of Fan of Flames, Arcane Veil, Grimoire Snap, and Missile Salvo. You can find this Grimoire just west of Beoth's Gateway and Ivana's Threshold, right over here near the cemetery. When you approach the cemetery, you're going to find grave robbers lurking around the area, as well as a large lootable chest that you'll need a certain key to unlock. And luckily when we go to collect this Grimoire, we're also going to be collecting the Pyromancer's key that allows us to unlock this chest. So in order to find both of these, we're going to want to head behind the cemetery and eventually above it. So in order to do that, we're going to follow this path to the west that leads toward another area called Fractured Shore. Now try to keep as close as you can to the area where the cemetery was, so you're going to want to stick toward this left wall, while also moving upwards on this path and avoiding any enemies that are around the area. You can simply just jump up here and follow this path upwards to avoid the Zarups that are over to the right. As you get toward the top of this pathway, you should eventually hear the crazed Pyromancer, or at the very least see the subtitles of his dialogue on the bottom. As you approach him, an explosion's going to go off, unfortunately leading to his end, but fortunately for us, allowing us to pick up the loot that he drops. Once you get to the edge of this cliff, you're going to find Anextli's Grimoire, as well as the Pyromancer's key, and a couple other items that you can pick up. Now you can just head back down to the cemetery, and use the key to open up the Pyromancer's chest. You can collect all that loot inside, and now you're going to have Anextli's Grimoire, which is one of the best unique Grimoires that you can get early in the game. The next unique weapon that I personally think is one of the best in the entire game, and on my first run through I used from beginning to end, is the Drawn in Winter unique axe. This axe has two great abilities that you should definitely take advantage of both early and late in the game. Using power attacks with this axe deals moderate frost accumulation to nearby enemies, as well as plus 10% bonus frost damage on any hits that you deal. This is also one of the easiest weapons to pick up early in the game because there's nothing that you need to do other than go to this one location and interact with an ancient memory. If you can find your way up to this axe, I recommend this being one of the first things that you do when you get to this region. In order to find Drawn in Winter, you'll have to go to the location called the Watcher's Mirror. You can find this area northeast of the city of Paradise and along the easternmost part of the Rise, which you can see is the area right over here. You can follow the pathways on the eastern side of Paradise and make things a lot easier by finding this fast travel beacon, as well as this party camp that you can set up and use as a fast travel point. From the party camp, if you just look over to the east and follow this pathway straight through, you'll be able to walk right into the Watcher's Mirror. Now as of now you can't grab the axe yet, so you'll first have to go over to the edge where you'll see a giant cliff and some sort of fossils embedded in the mountain across this gap. Now you simply just want to interact with the ancient memory, and obviously you can choose any options that you see fit. It doesn't matter which options you choose, as either way you'll be able to finish it and acquire a godlike ability at the end of it. Now as the memory concludes, if you look behind you, in the little pond that we crossed in order to get to the ancient memory, you're going to see an ice block rise out from the pond with a weapon on top of it. As you approach it, you'll get the option to pick up the Drawn in Winter unique axe. However, before you pick it up, you're going to want to be aware that the second you grab it, multiple waves of skeleton enemies will spawn within the pond and begin attacking you. If you want to stick around and fight them, you absolutely can, but if you did this very early on, especially before upgrading your character, it may be best to just take the axe and get out of the area as soon as possible. Now if you happen to already be a level 5, then you can go into your ability section, and if you have an extra ability point, you can purchase the Shadowing Beyond ability that allows you to become invisible. Now this will drain your essence, but you'll stay invisible as long as you still have essence, or until your first combat action. So if you did have this ability, you could pick up the axe, use Shadowing Beyond, and then simply run out of here without having to worry about getting attacked. However, if you're not a level 5 yet, and you can't get this ability, then you can do exactly what I'm going to do, which is grab the axe, and as soon as you grab it, before those enemies come up and see you, you can go to your map and fast travel to the nearest location. It might be a little bit of a cheap way to do things, but it doesn't matter because once you get out of here with this weapon, you're going to be in possession of one of the best weapons you can possibly have. If you happen to fast travel back to your party camp, you can now go over to the stand where you can enchant your weapon. If you have the materials you need to enchant this weapon, you can already upgrade it so that power attacks now deal high frost accumulation to nearby enemies. And this is definitely something that'll come in handy later in the game. Alright, with that one done, we're going to move on to Caeroc's Pride, which is definitely one of the best unique pistols that you can get, especially early in the game. If we take a quick look at this pistol and its abilities, it first allows power attacks to deal high shock accumulation to the enemy that you're targeting, and it also deals plus 10% bonus shock damage to any hits that you deal. The main problem with getting this pistol is that you can only get it from defeating one of the bounty targets in Dawnshore. This particular bounty is for Tempestuous Luandi. Like I said, there's no requirements in order to get this weapon, so even before you do any of the main quests, you can still find this bounty target, defeat him, and pick up this pistol without having to actually collect the bounty from the bounty master in Paradise. In order to find this pistol and the bounty target Lawandi, you have to look for this small island just southeast of Shantytown and directly below the Andra's Reach Beacon fast travel location. Now I won't lie to you, if you're not that high of a level, and you still haven't mastered using your companion abilities, it may be a bit difficult to defeat Lawandi, and not so much because of his crew, because they should be pretty easy to take out, but because he himself, especially with his pistol, can deal some serious damage to you. So make sure you're careful when attempting to take him out. But if you are able to defeat Lawandi and his crew, you can loot this unique pistol right off of his body, as well as go around this small island and collect a bunch of the loot that's here, like this small lockbox, as well as this small chest that contains a bunch of coins. The next unique weapon that you can get right away, and that's also one of the best early game weapons, is the Philosopher's Riddle, a unique greatsword that comes with the abilities where a full combo attack gives you plus 15% attack speed for 10 seconds, and that gives you plus 10% bonus poison damage for any hits that you deal. In my first run through of Avowed, this was the first unique weapon that I picked up, and I used it throughout the entire region of Dawnshore until I figured out how to get the Drawn in Winter unique axe, and the Last Light of Day sword, which is one that we'll talk about in a little bit. The Philosopher's Riddle Greatsword can be found at the top of Castle's Folly on the northwest side of the island. If you're not sure where this location is yet, it's this island right over here on the southeastern part of the map. In order to get there, you're gonna have to start on the mainland and jump across these rocks in order to get to the island. Now it's really important to note that when you first go here, all the enemies on this island are gonna be hostile. So if you want to deal with them, you can go ahead and take them all out. However, there's a much easier way to deal with them. Like I mentioned before, if you're already a level 5 by this point, and you're able to unlock abilities at the level 5 rank, then you can get the ability called Shadowing Beyond. This allows you to become invisible, so you can move around the map without being seen. Now if you want, you can use this ability to just go right at the sword, pick it up, and then jump into the water to leave the area, because you're not able to fast travel while on this island, at least until you make friends with the people that are here. Now like I said, although you can just get this weapon and leave, I find it much easier to go up to the top of the southern part of the island and speak with the crew members that are there. As long as you don't become hostile with them and tell them that you'll deal with their problem, then you'll be able to freely move around the island without any worries. So all those enemies that we were worried about are no longer going to be hostile towards you. So if you're using the Shadowing Beyond ability, you could simply go the direction I'm heading now, and then just follow the pathway to the left, and bypassing the enemies that are there, although you do have to be pretty quiet about it, and then you can make your way up to the top to talk to the crew. However, I found a bit of a glitch where you can get up to the top and speak with them without having to sneak by the other enemies on the left. If you just jump up over here and continue jumping until you find an area where you're able to get up onto the edge of this rock, you can then jump across to the wooden platform, and as soon as you approach the crew, whether you're invisible or not, it'll activate a cutscene. At this point, like I said, as long as you agree to help them with their problem, you're going to be good to go, and now you can walk around the entire island without having to worry about anybody attacking you. So now you can just drop down, go back off to the left, and make our way to the top of Castle's Folly by following this path here. And once you get up here, you're going to see this unique greatsword just sitting on its own, right here in this location. Once you collect that, you can actually go back behind here, go up these steps, and you'll find another chest in the back that contains an Audra piece. Like some of the other weapons that we talked about, if you take this weapon back to your party camp and check out the options to enchant it, there's a great option over here where power attacks with this weapon will deal both high bleed and stun accumulation. Stun accumulation is really important in this game because it allows for special attacks to take place. The next unique weapon that you can collect early in the game is the 7 Strivings unique Great Axe. The abilities that it comes with include killing an enemy gives you plus 15% move speed for 10 seconds, as well as a plus 5% critical hit chance. Now in order to collect this weapon, you will have to go to an area where one of the bounty targets is. However, you don't actually need to fight this bounty target in order to get this weapon. As I mentioned a couple times already, you can use the Shadowing Beyond ability to become invisible so you can creep around this area, pick up the weapon, and get out of there without having to fight the bounty target. The area that you can find this weapon, as well as the bounty target Ralga, is up here in the northernmost part of the Rise, at a location called the Falls. You can find this area east of the Pargron Cache, and northwest of the Shrine to Wotica. You can use this pathway here to sneak in from the back so you don't have to go in from the left side where there's a Zarup camp guarding the entrance to Ralga's lair. If you go in from the right side, you can stay up above this area and map out exactly where you want to go. As you can see, I'm looking down on Ralga right now, and over to the right, you can actually see a body on the ground with the 7 Strivings unique weapon laying right on top of them. Now we're just going to wait for her to walk away, activate the Shadowing Beyond ability, drop down, and go right over and pick up the unique weapon. And if you think you can keep moving around here without being seen, there's also a chest in the back left corner, where if you just follow me over here, you can pick it up before your essence runs out, and fast travel out of here without causing any sort of chaos. Alright, and the last unique weapon you can get early in the game without having to fulfill any requirements is the Sheathed In Summer unique dagger. This dagger has an ability that a full combo attack deals moderate fire accumulation, as well as plus 10% bonus fire damage to any hits that you deal. Much like the electric pistol that we picked up earlier, in order to get this dagger, you're going to have to defeat one of the bounty targets. In this case, the bounty target is Octave the Firebrand. In order to collect it, you have to loot the dagger off of his body after defeating him. You can find Octave at the Godless Ruins, just southeast of the Strangle Root and across the river. It'll be right here in this location. There are a bunch of chests and other loot that you can collect in this area, so make sure after you defeat the bounty target and his crew, you search around and make sure you get everything here, and then of course make sure to pick up the unique dagger, Sheathed In Summer, off of Octave the Firebrand's body. Alright, for the next section, we're going to talk about unique weapons that you can get after completing at least the first main quest. Once you've completed the main quest, you're now going to be able to access the City of Paradise. So once you're able to go inside of the city, the first place we're going to go is here in Southern Paradise's Market District, and we're going to find this merchant, Marilyn. At her shop, you're going to be able to purchase Beothel's Grimoire, a unique grimoire that has the spells Corrosive Siphon, Arcane Veil, Parasitic Staff, and Blizzard. Like Anextli's Grimoire, this spellbook is especially effective early in the game, so if you think it's worth it to pick up, this is where you can buy it. The next unique weapon that you can purchase inside the city is actually going to be in Northern Paradise or Paradise Hightown. The weapon that we're looking for is called the Disappointer, and it's a unique pistol. You can find this weapon at the merchant named Cuddy in the northwest section of Philosopher's Alley. He's going to be off in a back alleyway because his activities are a bit illegal. Once you check out his shop, you're going to see the Disappointer unique pistol right over here, and as you can see, one of its abilities will say minus 10% attack damage, while the other says plus 10% bonus bleed damage for any hits that are dealt. The minus 10% attack damage is a bit of a joke because the name of the pistol is the Disappointer, so it's a bit disappointing to see that it has minus 10% attack damage. However, if you were to purchase this pistol and then go to enchant it at your party camp, you'll be able to flip this minus 10% attack damage into plus 10% attack damage. And if you were to run dual wield pistols with both this and Caeroc's Pride, you'll be running around with two of the most powerful pistols in the game, especially this early on. Alright, and the last unique weapon that we're looking for in the City of Paradise can be found at the Militia Headquarters Merchant in the northeast part of Paradise Hightown, or Northern Paradise, near the Street of the Gods. And once you get here, you run over to the Militia Headquarters and speak to the merchant. In her shop, you're going to find the Long Touch unique bow. The first ability this bow has is plus 10% critical hit chance for power attacks while fine aiming, which is actually a really nice ability, and its second one is plus 5% damage against enemies with full health. So again, if you want to buy this unique bow, you can find it at the Militia Headquarters Merchant in the northeastern part of Paradise Hightown. And the last unique weapon that we're going to talk about is the Last Light of Day unique sword. Like Drawn in Winter and the Philosopher's Riddle, this is overall one of the best unique weapons in the game. It has an ability that when you kill an enemy, you restore 3% of your maximum health. So every time you kill an enemy, you're gaining health back. And on top of that, each hit deals plus 10% bonus fire damage. So in short, you're dealing fire damage to enemies and gaining health back each time you kill them. Now technically, the only requirement that you need in order to get this unique weapon is to complete the Dawnshore side quest. So while you don't technically need to have done the main quest in order to start this side quest, you still have to fulfill this quest itself in order to get this sword. So that's why I put this in a separate category altogether. I have a full breakdown of the Dawnshore side quest that goes much more into detail about how to complete it, how to get the Last Light of Day sword, and more importantly, all the different outcomes of the choices that you make during the quest. So if you want to go more in depth on that quest and how to get this sword, check out this video popping up on the screen, or find the link in the description. Otherwise, if you're just looking to get this sword, and you want to do it as soon as possible, you can start the Dawnshore side quest by doing two different things. If you've already completed the first main quest, Message from Afar, then you can find this side quest as an exclamation point right in front of the Adirian Embassy when you first walk into Southern Paradise. Otherwise, if you haven't already completed the first main quest, you can still start this side quest by simply going to the Northern Farms Beacon, and if you fast travel there, in front of you will be Zarups guarding a pathway called Pilgrim's Path. Once you clear them all out and follow Pilgrim's Path to the end, you'll eventually come to an area where you'll have to fast travel to the Beothel Temple, and this is where you'll complete the Dawnshore side quest in order to get the Last Light of Day unique sword. Like some of the others that we discussed, once you acquire this sword, you can take it back to your party camp, and when you go to enchant it, you'll see there's an even better upgrade than it already has. Currently, killing an enemy restores 3% of your maximum health. However, you can enchant this weapon to allow it to restore 10% of your maximum health every time you kill an enemy. And that's why both now and later in the game, this is one of the best weapons that you can have. Alright, so those were all the unique weapons in Dawnshore and how to get them. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video and you're able to collect some of these weapons early in the game so you can get some use out of them both in Dawnshore and throughout the rest of the game. If you enjoyed this video, please drop a like and subscribe because it really goes a long way to help me build this channel, and more importantly, because I really appreciate it. Anyway guys, that's all I got. So as always, thanks for watching, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.